Hello and welcome to Atop the Fourth Wall, where bad comics burn. Back from my break, and it's the penultimate issue of The Star Wars, the comic based on one of George Lucas's original rough drafts for A New Hope. When we last left off, Luke, 3PO, and Han Swamp Thing had met up with Owen Lars, who told them about a nearby Imperial outpost. Leia had been kidnapped by a group of bounty hunters, and Luke stabbed a Wookiee, which earned him the respect of the other Wookiees. Not for any deep cultural reasons or anything, the dude was just an asshole, and it was nice for them to see him get taken down a peg. Let's dig into The Star Wars, number 7, as we close in on finishing this thing. Reading from a trade, so no looking at the cover. We open with Luke and Han preparing to leave on some special hovercrafts provided for them by Lars. Remember what I said, 3PO. There are just as many good generic waxing agents as there are the name brand stuff. 3PO is being left in charge of protecting the two kids while he and Han look for Leia and Anakin. Good call. I can't think of anyone better equipped to defend children from the ruthless Empire than the walking, talking Google Translate. Owen says that the Imperial patrols don't usually come out this far, so the kids should be fine. The two head out on their little floating platforms. Lars, your kindness will surely be rewarded. Yeah, I definitely can't see anything bad happening to Owen and... I'm pretty sure that was an unrelated accident. This is why you don't boil blue milk. Meanwhile, at the Wookiee camp, the tribe is dancing around a campfire for some reason. Anakin and R2 decide to make a discreet exit, but they're met by this wide-eyed fellow. Oh no, the fiercest Wookiee! Right, sure, the face of fierce, everyone. Points to the comic for somehow conveying a terrible, bug-eyed, unconvincing alien mask that probably would have been in the film if the budget had been lower. This is what happens when you can't hire the Jim Henson Company for your creature effects. Or what happens when you do get them, but they've been making just Muppets for too long.
It's time to face your maker on the Muppet Show tonight.
Anakin just wants to leave, but the Wookiee won't budge. I think he wants to be a friend. I am grateful to you and your people, but I must go. Facebook is just a cesspool of misinformation and bigotry these days, and I don't want any more friends there. The two walk off to go find Leia, but the Wookiee follows behind them. They soon meet back up with Han and Luke, who have found the bodies of the bounty hunters Luke killed earlier. You were followed. I know, he wouldn't stay. He's one of the ones I saved, but I can't understand a word he says. He just keeps talking about NFTs and my mind spaces out. And it seems Han Solo, like his true movie counterpart, can speak Wookiee. Here's Chewbacca, son of Ozatuk, prince of the Sawas. A very powerful Wookiee tribe. It seems they've made Starkiller a god. Don't be too excited by that. Specifically, you're the god of string beans. They're trying to fill out some empty slots in their pantheon. Later, they locate the Imperial outpost. While the Wookiees have harassed them several times now, the outpost is too heavily fortified and well-armed to do anything more. Luke thinks they might be able to organize the Wookiees into a more effective fighting force. They call up the kids to see how they're doing. Great, General! I caught a thumper! A big one!
Again! It is the legend.
The other kid is out collecting berries or something with Owen and Beru. However, after the transmission ends, the stormtroopers bust in. The thumper tries to defend the kid, but it gets sliced in half. If this had been the movie, the sequel would have basically been this kid going John Wick on the Empire over this. Soon, Luke is telling the Wookiees his plan. I guess maybe Han acting as a translator? And they begin their assault, using the Wookiees as a diversion to lure Imperial tanks out before smashing them with big rocks. As Luke notes, the earlier attacks by the Wookiees have worked to their advantage. The Imperials are so used to chasing them off that they've grown sloppy and aren't even using more advanced detection systems. Side note though, the spelling of Wookiees includes an extra E in there for some reason. So maybe I should be pronouncing it Wookiee-S. I thought having 3 Y's in Kashyyyk was excessive. Because poor literacy is a way to make sci-fi names. Anyway, they've captured 4 tanks and used them in a direct assault, quickly swarming the place, as we see in this nifty 2-page spread. One of the original inspirations for Star Wars was, of course, politics of the day. Lucas has said as much, and in this case, the Vietnam War. The sequence is basically meant to be the centerpiece of the movie. A less technologically advanced force living in a jungle managing to overpower and fight off an advanced military system invading it. The allegory got a bit lost when it eventually resurfaced in Return of the Jedi because the Ewoks were friggin' teddy bears, so it came off as kinda goofy. It works a little better here with a bunch of what is essentially Yetis doing the job, though slightly undermined in that they needed another technologically advanced military person, Luke, to do the strategy and thinking for them. Although I think the bigger issue is that I don't see these guys singing Yub Nub, so what's even the point? Our heroes quickly take the base, which is equipped with a squadron of what are essentially Y-Wing fighters. Leia's been taken back to Aqualay, so Luke plans to head back there to rescue her. I'm not gonna stop you, Anakin, but it's a reckless move. You wouldn't see me jumping into a fighter to go on some half-baked rescue mission of my friends. Han informs Luke that they've lost contact with the kids and the Larses. That is an awkward family name to pluralize. So they dispatch Chewbacca and two of his warriors to find out what's going on. Luke's bigger plan is to use the Y-Wings to stage an assault on the space fortress, though he doesn't have pilots. His plan is to train the Wookiees to pilot them. So I guess we've had it all wrong. This is actually an early draft of Battlefield Earth. Anakin flies out in the Sky Raider, and in disguise, hoping that'll help the rescue mission. We'll bring Leia back even if we must sacrifice ourselves like the noble Whitson. I doubt that'll be necessary. You had a lot more character development than he did. On board the space fortress, Leia is being held in restraints as Darth Vader speaks to her.
I pray you have been treated honorably, Princess Leia. I am your servant, Darth Vader.
Oh good, my waiter's finally here. Look, I appreciate the yoga machine, but I am dying for some pasta here. Naturally, this is all just mockery as they prepare to bring in some doctors to torture her until she acquiesces to their demands. In the meantime, electrocution, wherein Vader throws back his head and laughs like this. It's the little things that are so amusing about this early weirdness. Can you think of a single moment in the original trilogy where Vader laughed? I'm not questioning it. Don't make a comment saying something like, well, of course he didn't laugh. He's a tragic figure of blah, 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 blah. I mean, like, it's the kind of thing you don't really think about, but seeing it here, you really recognize that part of his character, that even in moments of victory, he never even lightly chuckles or a single heh. And thus seeing a version of Vader laughing like this is just so weird. Anyway, the tank that was carrying the Larses and kids is soon overrun by the Wookiees, who get 3PO up to speed. Apparently, he and his friends are rescuing us. The Skywalker is teaching them how to fly like birds, and the Starkiller God is attacking a moon to rescue a princess. Homemaker, and the worst part is that the prom's tomorrow. And apparently the Starship training is going pretty well. The Y-Wings apparently have big enough control rooms for Chewbacca, Luke, and Han Solo to all hang out in comfortably. Place looks bigger than my office. Anyway, the rough flying is doing a number on Han Solo's stomach. There's no time to be sick, Solo. We have to rack up a lot more orbital training. Today. Man, we thought the time compression in Last Jedi was kind of wonky. How long is this training taking? Yavin was like less than a day out from where they were escaping from, but it seems like the training is going to take multiple days, and yet nobody in the Empire is curious about what's happening here? And indeed, when Anakin arrives at the space fortress, the guy there asks what the hell's going on at Yavin because they've lost contact with them. Anakin bluffs his way out of the conversation and has R2 hook up to the station's computer to find Leia. They head to the detention area, with Anakin requiring an escort to go deeper in.
The Methusians just beat the PDRs again. They should be in another league. They should be in another system.
Is it weird that we've seen a lot of different aspects of cultures and places and ideas in Star Wars, but none of the movies have ever shown us space football? Anakin vanishes, and the stormtrooper he was talking to calls out an alert on this. And so our comic ends with Luke being informed that they've made contact with the underground on Aqualay, and they're ready to begin a coordinated attack with them. The Wookiees preparing to pilot the Y-Wings, after having painted them up in various tribal designs. Although hilariously to them, this is just the equivalent of drawing dicks on something. This issue is okay, though it's definitely feeling like we're rushing to the climax. The Wookiee attack on the base and them learning how to fly spaceships feels like the kind of thing that should take up at least a half hour of a film, but instead it's just handled over a few pages. While there isn't much in the way of character development or the like, that's only because we need to start putting the pieces in place for the big finale. Minor bit of padding that probably would have been cut from the film is the Imperials finding the kids. It ends up going nowhere since they're pretty much freed immediately after capture. It's still so weird to see the bare bones ideas of Star Wars related things, but everything's all twisted around and just not as good. And then the entire idea of the Wookiees getting trained in, like, an afternoon to pilot spaceships when they still think Anakin is a god because he bested one of their warriors in combat It's just silly. Yet you've just kind of come to expect that kind of silliness from this version of events. Although let's face it, the finished version of Star Wars still had that kind of goofiness running through it at times. Next time, back to Patreon-sponsored reviews as we look at two side characters from Sonic in their own miniseries.
Now we'll see if your plan works.
It has to, or it's death for the princess, Anakin, and freedom! Oh, and death for the Wookiees who are piloting these things, but they don't really count as much. Hello, my friends. Please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and click the bell for notifications on new video releases. If you'd like to support future videos, you can check out my Patreon or purchase a t-shirt via Teespring or Shark Robot. Thanks for watching!